working on some Christmas ornaments. Christmas is, I don't know, what is it? October, November, 2.5 months away. Almost 3 months, I guess. And I'm kind of getting in the holiday mood. So I thought I would make some ornaments to restock my Etsy. I think I have 2 or 3 left from last year, so I thought I should start working on these. I pulled out some of my glitters that I thought would look really cool. So of course I have to have a red and gold. So these are all from Glitter Makes It. So this red, this is just an absolute beautiful deep red, Mother Knows Best. And it's by Candlelight. This is an iridescent gold, but it's not like that really bright yellowy gold. It's a little bit softer than that. So I'm going to combine those two in this one. This one I've got something blue, which is just this beautiful dusty blue. And then Artemis, which is an iridescent, and it changes from like a purpley pink to a tealy blue. And I thought those looked pretty together. And then this one, Mermaid Lagoon, which is another iridescent. This goes from like a turquoise with just a hint of gold in it. And then this Electric Slide, which is white with gold or yellow, a yellowy gold. So I'm doing that in the third one. Now, I always write down what I do. And I made a ton of these last year. And for some reason, I did not write down how much resin it takes to make these. So I'm kind of guessing. I mixed up, what did I mix up here? 4 ounces. I'm going to do 1 with the 4 ounces and see where I'm at, and then I'll mix up the other 2, but I'll cut the video so you don't have to watch me mix up the resin. But I didn't want to mix up too much and then, you know, waste it. All right, so these molds, I'll put the link in the description. These are not the best quality molds. They tend to warp, and they're really, really sensitive to heat. I don't even know how many of them I destroyed last year. And I don't know if you can see it, but these 2 are sitting kind of crooked. And it's just, they don't want to straighten out. And then this has a little bit of a warped edge. So if you're going to purchase these, I would just caution you, every time I buy them, at least one of them is unusable. And then I can only get a few pours out of them before I just have to throw them out. So they're not the best quality mold, but it's a really pretty mold. And if you're just wanting to make some cool ornaments, it's a good mold to have. It's nice and big. These are 9 inches from top to bottom, which is nice. So, all right, let me get my little cup here. So what I'm going to do is, you could do this in all kinds of ways because each of these is a little cavity on its own, and then the center cavity. So what I usually do is I pour the 4 small ones and sometimes the middle of one color, and then the big ones, and then maybe sometimes the middle of the other color. But like I said, I mean, you could do all kinds of different things with this and have a lot of fun. But there is, these cavities aren't as deep as the mold itself. Let me see if I can get it in the frame. So you can see the edge of the cavity is below the top of the mold. So you can't fill this mold all the way up when you fill in the cavities, unless you're doing, I guess, all one color or maybe a blend of colors. But if you want to keep these separate, you have to pour these first and let it cure, and then you can pour on the back and fill it all the way up. If you don't fill it all the way up, these are actually individual pieces. And I made that mistake once and ended up demolding individual pieces. So, so you a lot of times you have to do these in multiple steps. All right, enough talking. Let me get this mixed up. So if I remember right, it was 2 ounces for the little guys, or maybe 1.5 ounces. I don't remember. I might not have enough resin. Maybe I should have mixed up 5. All right, I'll try that. We'll see. So I think I want to do the smaller pieces and the center with the red. Get this open. It's so hard with gloves on. There we go. All right, so this is Mother Knows Best. And I do like to put in quite a bit of glitter because I want it to be really solid. It's gonna sink down to the bottom, but I don't want it to just have glitter on the bottom. I want glitter through the whole thing. So I do put a lot more glitter in than I normally would. All right, let's try that. Yeah, that's about the right thickness. When it's pretty chunky thick like that, you know it's not gonna sink all the way down unless you have a really, really deep piece that you're pouring. All right, and then I'm gonna put the gold in here. All right, this is by Candlelight. This is a really, really cool gold. Probably should use a bigger spoon for this cup, huh? It's a lot more glitter. Okay. All that's scraped off the sides. All right, so those two are mixed up. I'm just gonna set these aside for now. All right, blow off the bubbles. I'm using the Unicone resin for these. I've been testing it out and I'm really liking it. It's very easy to work with. It mixes up really fast. I'm used to mixing for kind of a long time with the Naked Fusion. So it always surprises me when I go to check and see if the resin's all the way mixed up, and it is. So I love that. It's definitely thinner though. I would not recommend using this resin for stuff like bookmarks. I'll show you in a second. I have a really thin piece that was drips from, all right, that was way too much resin. I'll show you while I'm thinking about it. So this was just ran off. This was just a big drip from another piece, but it's really bendy. And that's about as thick as a bookmark would be. So I don't know that I would recommend this resin for thin pieces, but so far I'm really liking it for coasters. What else have I made? I've made a couple little trinket trays, and it's been really good for those things. So those are like 1/4 of an inch deep, but I don't know that I would use it for, like I said, bookmarks or maybe earrings, anything that's really thin. It doesn't seem to be made for thin pours like that. So I'm just filling these, not quite all the way on the first round. I may actually get all 3 of these with just what I mixed up here. I don't want to waste it. So I'm just being really careful not to pour too much. Just remember you can always add more, but it's really a pain to take it out. Let's get the little center. Whoops, almost over poured that one. All right, so I'm trying to keep these straight. They want to keep kind of tipping over on me. I'm just gonna work it up to the points. Let's add, let's see here. I'm just gonna use my stick. I'm not gonna try and pour because I'll probably put too much in. This gold is so pretty. I don't know if I don't know if the camera is capturing just how beautiful this is. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, let the bubbles come up. I guess I'll do the next one. We'll see how far this goes. 4 ounces. Well, kind of almost got it. So I'm thinking if I had mixed up 5 ounces, I could have done all 3 of these. So I'm gonna mix up another ounce and just fill these in a little bit more, but you don't need to watch me do that. So now, just to get rid of these bubbles, I'm gonna hit it with a heat gun. And then I'm just gonna use my little dotting tool, and you could use a toothpick. I'm just gonna poke it in each one of these corners and let that air bubble escape. This resin is fabulous for bubble release, by the way. There are no bubbles on the top of this. That's how clear it was to start with. That's one of the great things about a thinner resin. The bubble release is usually really good. Every resin has its pros and cons. Like I said, this one doesn't seem to be the best for really thin items, but it seems to work good for other stuff. All right, so I'm just gonna mix up a little bit more, fill these in, and then I'm gonna let these cure, and then I will be back to pour the backs on these. So I will see you tomorrow. All right, they are all dry. I did mix up 1 more ounce, just to let you know. So after I stopped filming, I mixed up 1 more ounce, and that filled these fully. So it would have been 5 ounces total to get all of this. So I wrote it down this time. All right, so I'm doing the top layer now. This will be the back of the ornament. And I am using Girl's Best Friend. This is a small glitter. I didn't want to use the chunky glitter because it's really only going to show where these lines are and then around the edges. So I wanted something fine that would really fill that in. So that's why I'm using this small glitter. I've mixed up 6 ounces. I'm pretty sure this won't be enough to do all 3, but again, I don't remember what I needed. So if I have to mix up more, I will. All right, grab my spoon. Use a bigger spoon this time. Let's start with that. This glitter is so pretty. It's a mix of white and silver, and the silver is an iridescent. So it's got a lot of sparkle, a lot of color to it. Debating if I should. I'm gonna add 1 more spoonful. Just because it's such a light colored glitter and the resin is clear, I just want to make sure that it's gonna be seen. Now these molds do have a little spot at the top here to hang a ribbon. So when you're pouring this layer, you have to make sure you get it around that. So I do that first, and I just do it with the end of my stick. Just kind of let it drizzle in there because I don't want to forget it. And I don't want to wait until the end because I might not have much glitter left in the cup by then. So, all right, now to the pouring. Yeah, I'm glad I added that extra scoop because this is a little more transparent than I want it to be, but that's okay. And I'm stirring it again just because the glitter does sink to the bottom, and I'm trying to get it evenly distributed here. All right, looks like this guy is domed. This one, these sides that are a little crooked make it challenging to fill these all the way up. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to mix up a little bit more. Let's see how much I have in here. So I have 1.5 ounces left. So it took 4.5 ounces to do 2. So that would be 2 2/4. So I need about 1 ounce, another ounce to fill this. So I think I'm gonna mix up 2 ounces just to make sure I have enough. All right, I'm just gonna let that settle. Let's see if I need to add any more. And then I'm just gonna go very gently around the edges. Just want to help any bubbles that might be stuck to the mold, just help release them. All right, now these are too full for me to use my heat gun because I think it'll just blow the resin right out. So I'm gonna just very carefully torch them. These molds are really, really heat sensitive, so. Okay, and it looks like I used 1 of those ounces. So yeah, 7 ounces would have filled these. I have to see if there's something else I can pour that into. All right, so I will be back tomorrow and we will demold these and put the ribbons on. Uh-oh, we're overflowing. This is where this mold is a little bit warped. I don't see any of the other ones doing it just yet. There's really no way to level them out because they're not on level. They're just twisted. And I don't know how to twist them back. I've tried, I've heated them up. You know, I've tried a few different things to try and get them back to their normal self. But like I said at the beginning of the video, these are pretty cheap molds, so they're going to warp. If they don't arrive warped when you get your shipment, they will warp as you're using them. All right, I guess I'm gonna just have to let that one kind of self-level. It might keep dripping, but it is what it is. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, they're all cured. As you can see, they did, these 2 that were warped did have some of the resin run out. But since resin is self-leveling, they're still flat on the back. They're just not as thick, because I had poured it up to the edges. They were domed, and then obviously they're not anymore. But that's okay. I'm a little disappointed, but it's not the end of the world. So let's start with the one in the middle. This one did not overflow. So much sparkle. Get that out of there. Can't wait to flip this over. Oh, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of sanding right here. Okay. All right, let's flip it over. Oh my gosh. Can you see that hanging on a tree? Let me turn it this way so you can see the whole thing. Wow, that is so pretty. That is absolutely beautiful. I think I might keep one of these for myself. All right, let's get this guy. Nice strip I can keep. So this one is definitely not as thick. I have to do a little bit of sanding. I'm gonna have to sand around the whole thing because since it wasn't domed anymore, now it's got a lip around it. So I'm gonna have to sand the whole piece. All right, last one. Those little pieces. All right, and then this one too. That's okay, I just use my little rotary drill. Just grind off the edges. It really doesn't take very long. And since this is on the back of the piece, the dulling from the grinding, it's not going to be that big of a deal because it's on the back. A little bit of an overflow right there. But otherwise, this one looks great too. Oh, these are so pretty. All right, I'm going to make another video with those glitters that I didn't get to use. So I'm going to make another video showing those. Oh, before I forget, I used the leftover, that 1 ounce of resin I had left to make this little snowflake. I've never used this mold before. It's one of those molds I bought last year and just never got around to using. So let's see, this might be a little tough to, a little tricky to demold. It's a very thin mold, so it's hard to grab. Oh, there we go. This isn't completely cured, so it is a little bit bendy. That's okay. I'll lay it on my table here and it'll flatten out while it finishes curing. Oh, this is hard to get out of here. All right. Oh, that's pretty. That'll look really pretty on a tree. And this mold, it has a little hole. It was right here, but it doesn't seem to be an actual hole. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that, but I can always drill a little hole in it, no big deal. That looks super cool. All right, well, I'm just going to put ribbons on these and drill a hole in this one and put a little string on it, but these are going to look really good on a tree. So as always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button for me. All the likes that I get definitely help my videos show up for other people to watch. And of course, please subscribe and share the channel. And I will see you next time. Take care.